morning.
Welcome to the first podcast episode of what are we even calling this podcast? Does it have an official name?
Exactly. I was
We
thinking.
just realized that we don't have an official name.
I think it's the CFT Manual podcast, maybe.
I think so. That's what we were going for.
Of this little one, of this little baby. Okay, yeah, no, of course. Of course, it's the CFT Manual Chats. I think we were going to go with, perhaps. Did you remember that?
It can be breakfast for us. It can be.
Yeah, actually, we're spanning along many different time zones. So
that's true. That's true. So
the podcast hour.
That's right. We should introduce each other and so on, and so that people know where we're from, because you're absolutely right. We're in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
So CFT Manual Chats for now, but who knows? The name might change. But Beatrice, do you want to start? I mean, you've got a beautiful background there.
Yeah, this was to honor our book and the reason that we're here and we're having this chat at all, actually. So I'm Beatrice Baldi, and I'm one of the co-authors of the manual. Very honored to be here. I'm from Rome, so that's my time zone right now. We're actually recording this early morning here now. And what else should I say? I mean, what I do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, so, well, I'm a clinical psychologist here in Italy, and I'm training as a psychotherapist. Existential humanistic psychotherapy is the branch that I chose to specialize in, but I've been working in CFT for quite many years now alongside Niki, who's another co-author and friend. And I'm also doing a PhD in neuroscience, focusing on autism and neurodivergence. So I'm trying to find ways to bridge all these things together. But and well, let's say that the bit that I started working with in CFT alongside Niki was actually body-based, because my background is as a yoga teacher. And so for many years, I was teaching yoga before becoming a psychologist, actually, and that's actually what led me to psychology. So I love to kind of integrate that in my clinical work as well, like all the body work and also some of the principles from yoga philosophy. I think that we can find again in some approaches and therapeutic approaches, as well as I've found many links between yoga and CFT, actually, and that's what we started exploring with Niki in the first place. So we kind of tried to bring some body elements into the manual as well, and there'll be some videos coming up for that as well. So very exciting. But I will play it now so that Niki can introduce herself.
Hi, I'm James Kirby. My name is James.
Never look better.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Bea. Yes, I'm Niki Petrocchi, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation and this podcast, because it resembles what we did over the past couple of years. And we met every Wednesday, I think. It was Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday morning was our day.
8 a.m. By the way, I'm Niki Petrocchi, and I am based in Rome. I am a psychotherapist. I was born as a CBT psychotherapist. And then I think now 13 years old, I discovered CFT in a wonderful workshop in Canary Islands with Paul Gilbert, wonderful Paul Gilbert. And then after that, I had the bad idea of going into research and becoming having my PhD and my postdoc. No, it was not a bad idea. It was like finding and discovering a new part of me around on research, and in a way, this is how this was blended together. So my love for CFT, my love for psychotherapy first, I would say, and then CFT, like empowering psychotherapy, really, and then the research aspect. And now I am in Rome, so incredibly happy that we have this baby out, and Yeah, this is now I am. What am I? I like to sing jazz, and after this big baby delivery, I think I'll go into singing jazz again. And I was so happy. This is something that I want to say, that when we went to the studio recording the audio recordings for this manual, that you who are listening to us, you will find in the manual. We recorded many tracks. And I was so happy because there was a sign for me to say, okay, maybe next time I go to a recording studio will be to record something like a song. And so also that gave me this insight.
Oh, that's awesome. You should, Niki, create some songs that activate blue circle energy, and we can put that on the website as well. What do you think?
We will.
You will.
It's a new
Said with great
beginning.
conviction. Okay, yeah, and I'm James Kirby. I'm from Brisbane, Australia. Niki and Beatrice have been amazing with our Wednesday meetings because I'm not an early morning person at all. So I've been very luckily able to join in the afternoons and their mornings, and we've been going through for what seems like an eternity to kind of work on this manual. So absolutely over the moon that it's all done now, and very excited about it all. I think it's you know. Oh God, when we first started and from how it first looked to where it is now, I think I could never have dreamt it could have come together as nicely as it did. So very grateful to have been working with you two. And I guess the idea of this podcast really is just to accompany the manual. So
Yeah.
we thought it would be very useful, like a little podcast series like this, to perhaps give some bite-sized nuggets into what drove us to write the manual, give some of that kind of history, but then have a look about some of the things that excite us in the manual, and then in this first season have it kind of contained, and we might unpack a little bit of the first two modules within the manual, and then at differing times include a sample of a meditation we use in those modules as well. And also just give a chance for us three to perhaps bounce off each other with some of the ideas that kind of came out of creating, the modules in the manual as well. So
we kind of wanted to recreate the flow, right?
What was that, Beatrice?
We kind of wanted to recreate the flow of what was happening when we were having these meetings and actually coming up with discussing among ourselves how to express a certain concept and how to make it clear, how to portray it graphically. So we were saying before with Niki, we were always thinking at the end of our meetings, oh, we should have recorded this because there was so much value going on there and like being shared in those moments, and we just wanted to share it with others as well. So that's what we were thinking of doing in these short little podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. So Niki, let's hit you first.
I want to first say, talking about graphics, I want to say something, and I want to thank Alessia Uricchio, who is the person who created what Beatrice has behind, and she's a wonderful artist, and she's based in a city near Naples, and she's such a wonderful artist because she she listened to us, and because we wanted to convey an idea of the three circles kind of merging to each other and talking to each other and balancing each other, which is basically at the core of CFT. And so I think we were also astonished by the work. And also I need to say something. So thank you, Alessia, and thank you for sharing with us that I didn't share with you that after this creation, is, something also happened in her life too. And in fact, she created more and more wonderful creations, and it was a lucky creation for herself too. So now she's in many new projects. I'm so excited for her. So thank you, Alessia, and we are so glad that the manual was a little bit of bringing you some luck for you. So thank you, Alessia, for giving your heart to this project. So
I just think that how she did that's beyond me. I mean, I just think that's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah,
So I don't. How do people have so much talent? And
yeah,
I mean, if I don't know how. It's incredible.
yeah.
Anyways,
So,
Maybe we
James,
want to start with the story, like where
yeah, I
the
think
channel even started. I mean, I think it'd be useful for people to kind of get a timeline of how this all started. And I mean, that's up to you two guys, because join in later.
that's a
yeah.
great question, Beatrice. Niki, I think you'd be best for that.
Yes, I mean, I will just say a couple of words because we are so grateful to Paul that embraced this project of us of trimming what was originally was and is like a super incredibly big manual that started probably 10 years ago, maybe not 10, but 8 for sure. And it is definitely like a collective efforts of many therapists, many CFT, brilliant, insightful therapists that produced their insights and created the Paul, of course, as the person who created CFT and all the structure. But I think I really want to say that this wouldn't have never been possible without, in a way, Paul embracing this idea of we should trim this big, big, big baby. And but I also want to say that I think the precious part of this manual is the story itself, because I think it was almost 8 years ago. We were in a meeting during a conference, and there was the feeling was that we wanted to kind of create a manual that should not be too mechanical, and it should not be too rigid, but a kind of a guide, a map for those who already know how to drive, in a sense, because no book can teach you how to do therapy, and no book can teach you how to do CFT, of course. But I remember this meeting kind of, this idea popped up of why don't we try and create some kind of a guidance, some kind of structure. And in fact, the word guidance was the original, probably the original name for this manual, I believe. In fact, manual has sometimes always this kind of mechanical feeling to it. But then after that, we realized, after a lot of work, Paul, of course, worked in the first place, obviously, but we realized that it was very, very big. And it was the Lonely Planet would become as big as the Brazil, I would say. The map was like, and it was and given that CFT is so rich, it was kind of very, very tricky to find a condensed way. But we still wanted to do that, right, James? We still felt that it was helpful, and here we are, I'm so grateful that Paul embraced this idea of trimming and trying to slim the original project, which is still there, and we know that Paul is planning also to finally release this big baby. So we hope that this is a little bit of an intro to the work that is that will come, I believe. What do you think, James, about that?
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, we're very lucky Paul allowed us to, take an approach where we were trying to really, I suppose, make it as pragmatic and practical as possible, which is hard to do because CFT or compassion focused therapy really is a very process based therapy, and not at all kind of rigid and mechanical. That's very separated really. So that was always one of the challenges, I think, trying to work out, well, what would be the flow if we were to create a sort of a trans diagnostic kind of process. What would be a general flow that would work? And Paul was amazing at providing the platform for that. And as you said too, like so many people helped kind of contribute to what would be a good flow. Lots of talks with other amazing CFT, experts, people like Ken Goss and Kate Luca and Tobin Bell, and just
Deborah
there's
Lee,
just so many different, Deborah Lee, of
Chris
course,
Irons, everyone really. Yeah.
everyone. Yeah, so I mean, there's Russell. There's just so many. It's hard to name them all, of course, but and they've written terrific books applying compassionate mind training, or compassion focused therapy principles to important target groups. So I feel like we're standing on the shoulders of giants, really, in the field, and I suppose being a researcher at the University of Queensland, I was really keen on perhaps to some people's dislike. I was really keen on getting something which was kind of written down so we could replicate it multiple times. So we could take it and implement it in a study, and then another person could do it and implement a relatively similar flow of events, and then other researchers could start doing it all over the world, hopefully,
Yeah.
to try to really start to build the evidence base of compassion focused therapy. And a manual is one piece of that puzzle. It's not the only piece, and certainly what we've put together here is not the only way. It's just our way of approaching CFT. So but from a researcher's perspective, I really want to run like lots of randomized controlled trials, and this is something I think to help with that.
Yeah. And in fact, I would like to say, I think it comes from the very science-based nature of CFT. I think that's what I always loved about CFT is that Paul Gilbert and all the writers and researchers in CFT, they all highlight the fact that as the science changes, also CFT will change, and that we should be very open to changing our ideas about how the mind works and how the connection between the mind and the body works. And I think that trying to keep CFT both as a very flexible and client-based psychotherapy and something that could be researched, I think that created this kind of need of having some kind of map. But of course, this is just a map, right? And of course, I always say, the Lonely Planet is amazing, but then when you are in Brazil, you might choose to have a completely different street and route. But I'm so glad that in a way, these 12 modules, and maybe we'll talk in a little bit, how the book is structured. They capture what it has been consistently done over the many researchers. In fact, now that we published the meta-analysis, it is clear that and this it is CFT is very effective, and in particular the format has been used to deliver CFTs, in fact, in a group format. And the majority of the studies, they seem to say that this is what has been used the majority of the time so far. And of course, we felt that it was so precious, that given that there is so much evidence already that delivering CFT in groups is so effective, we really wanted to have something like a map for maybe the future groups, and as you say, to facilitate RCTs and to help all the researchers that contacted us over the years and saying, do you have maybe a plan? Do you maybe have a structure? And so this is really the story and the intention behind this manual. I would say.
It's spot on, Niki. Like I remember going to lots of. I mean, nothing beats going to a Paul Gilbert workshop, and Paul's got some terrific with the Compassionate Mind Foundation. The introductory, experiential, and advanced workshops, and coming away from those workshops and going, oh goodness, I'd love to implement or do something with CFT, and there are lots of ways one can go about integrating. And I think one of the things the manual can offer also is some ideas and some options for you to creatively think, oh, these are some ways I could start to introduce this, or this is some ways I could introduce, that, to use vague terms in the work that I do. But Niki, sorry, Beatrice, just to bring you in, of course, you know, when you started to really, you know, contribute in a massive way, you know, what was your kind of journey and experience like?
Well, thanks, James. For me, it was an incredible honor, of course. I was working alongside Niki, and we'd been working on bringing compassion of mind training here in Italy. So we'd kind of structured a 12-week program here in Italy. We started delivering that. So then she started to involve me in the book project, and she was like, "Yeah, we're working on this project, and would you like to kind of help us with that?" And I was like, yes, of course. That would be an honor. I'd be grateful to. And so I started with some small bits, and then progressively it became more and more until I was like fully into it. And we started our weekly meetings, and it was all about taking everything that you'd already done by that point, you know, with all the years that you'd been working already on this manual, and then kind of understanding how to rearrange those elements which were already there, and then bringing in new elements as well that could help to make it more clear and provide more examples. That was extremely important for us, to model the fact that CFT really can be delivered in several different ways, and every therapist can really make it their own, while at the same time having these very solid reference points, which are the set pieces of a compassion focused therapy and the set principles. And that's what personally I've always found fascinating about CFT, alongside it's being rooted, in evolutionary biology and psychology, which is something that I've always been passionate about. But just this really balanced mix between flexibility and stability, which I find is something as therapists we really need, because it's kind of what we want to model in therapy with clients and patients too. I mean, going into it being too rigid, of course, is going to kind of like model that kind of being in the world, which is not what we want for people, because we're all human beings and that's what we need, like, to live. We need flexibility. So it was really nice to kind of experience that process in the writing of the book as well. I found that for me, it was an incredible learning experience as well as working experience, of course. So and then it was just, writing away week by week, writing down all the little pieces.
Beatrice, you were a massive burst of blue energy, but it was a massive. You think you nailed it with that learning, like the amount of learning I was doing, trying to understand. Hang on, what's the purpose of this exercise, or what's this connect to again with? Like, there were so many moments like that where you're kind of deepening your understanding of it all, and that was really cool.
It forces, the process forces you to really reflect deeply on some principles and how you want to deliver them. I mean, it's like when you teach, you really have to, knowing how to teach something is quite different from knowing that thing, and you have to go so much deeper into it, because you have to look at it from different sides and understand how different people can learn. So that's another thing that we really thought about a lot, is there will be people reading this book who have different learning styles, who have different delivery styles. So how can we cater to all of them? How can we include all of them so that they too can feel that they can actually do this in their own practice? So that for me was really interesting, and just a very stimulating and engaging mental process, or game. I'd call it a game almost. For me, it was really challenging, but also very fun and gratifying. So I was very grateful.
Absolutely. I mean, just bringing this first episode to a bit of a close. Goodness, the time goes quick. Because they're trying to keep these, in kind of, nice kind of bite sizes.
Sweet and short.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that'd be the next episode. I think we'll dig into in some more depth. How to use the manual, starting to have a look at what those themes are that we go through across the course of the 12 modules. But for today, it was just kind of trying to give a brief introduction to kind of who we were, how this began, really with Paul's brilliant brain. I don't know how he does it. And we're very lucky to have his permission to make the slimmed down version, as Niki was saying. And really to let everyone know this is something we hope, will just support, and accompany your kind of exploration through the book, through the manual. One of the things we'd like is, if you're going through the book or the manual and there's different parts where you have a question, do contact us. So on the CFT Manual website, which we have as well, which has handouts and audio recordings and so on, there'll be a way to contact us, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
We have that? There's already a contact page. You can shoot us an email with any questions that you have, reflections, or even things that you might want us to touch upon in the podcast. I mean, I think we'd be happy. We could even have a Q&A episode on the podcast. So that'd be really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
To be engaging for the audience as well. So absolutely.
Yeah, all right. Well, lots to do. But Niki and Beatrice, yay! I mean, officially the birthday of the book is July 26th. So it's very exciting. So well done, everyone.
Yeah, in fact, there is something, maybe we should say that the website itself is a living creature, I believe, and we will upload things. As Bea said, I believe that it's important to find always new ways to delivering the material. So in a way, there will be many elements that we will upload, either videos, and I'm also thinking maybe some YouTube videos that we find that they are perfect to deliver some parts of the manual. So stay tuned, as you say, and the manual will grow. The manual will not grow anymore. Not this book, but the website will grow, and what we couldn't put in the in the manual will be in a way or another in the website. So stay tuned.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. All right, episode 1 done. See you next week.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.